In a world of dungeons, dragons, and devious DMs, 4 adventurers set out to save the mysterious land of Blaelflow.
I'm Frank Bunty, Dwarven Paladin and all-round badass. I like nothing more than righting wrongs and smiting evil.
I'm Bonarail, a half-elf rogue that'll rob you blind and mess you up.
I'm Lord Sugar, a human wizard noble. I'm rich, I'm better than everyone, and I set fire to everything.
I'm Draco Justice, Dragonborn Monk. For when justice calls, who will answer? I will. I'm Draco Justice.
And I'm Doddy, the resident DM. I'll be throwing everything at these guys, including the kitchen sink. Ooh, a mimic kitchen sink.
Nerd OD&D from the Nod Network. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and wherever else you get podcasts.
Hey guys, this is Dave, and I'm on that show you really like. Oh, I'm sorry that you're getting your appendix out, but you're gonna do fine. Okay, thanks. Have a nice day. Bye. Hi, welcome to the Nerd OD podcast. You may have just heard 7 minutes of us talking about a potentially broken television. You may not have. If you haven't, maybe I'll put it at the end of the episode. We'll see. But how are you guys?
I'm going to use this as my soapbox. Don't use Pruvia, or it's probably better known, Puvia.
Puvia. I've never even heard of them. Shaun, again, if you haven't just heard that, if it wasn't good enough to leave in the podcast, Shaun couriered a TV up to Scotland, and this courier company got the box soaking wet and half destroyed the packaging. So he's not a happy bunny. But anyway, let's, just in case we've already talked about that, let's not talk anymore about it.
Also, just to warn you, I've ordered myself a birthday pizza, so I might disappear at one point.
It's not your birthday yet.
Listen, birthday pizza.
Okay, it's your birthday yesterday because this comes out on Wednesday, which is actually tomorrow in our world because this is Monday. But yeah, happy future birthday.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, you're going to be in tomorrow?
No.
Oh.
Well, I'll be in the day, but I'm not in the evening.
Oh, that's fine. That's good enough. That's good enough for an Amazon delivery.
Oh.
It's your birthday.
I don't think I got you anything for your birthday, though, so, I mean...
It's fine. You don't give to receive. You give just to be nice to people. And,
well, that's right, so I didn't get you anything either. Sorry, Shaun.
It's fine.
I've got you my company for this evening. I hope that's all right.
Well, in this box that's coming from Amazon, there are technically 51 items. Reg, you can have one of them. And say that's from you.
Is it
items in this
Lego?
Box. I'm not saying what it... No, can you imagine a 51-piece Lego set? That would be terrible.
Why?
Because that's tiny.
Oh, yeah.
That's like a poly bag. Jeez.
You're a polybag.
Thank you. Anyway.
So your message to me made me laugh. Hang on, let me just read it. So you messaged me saying, asking me if I'd be on the podcast, and I said sure, and you said awesome, I'll be on in a no. And the way I read it was you getting my hopes up about a birthday podcast and going, awesome, I'll be on in a no.
How about no?
Wow, why did Dan get mean?
See, I also missed the birthday podcast when we sit in your room just eating snacks while we pod.
Oh yeah, back in the day, we used to love doing that. We'd sit around, we'd just have snacks, we'd chat. I mean, I just miss IRL podcasts.
We get arrested for that now.
We would. Exactly. Did you see that dude who got arrested for playing Pokemon Go?
No.
Yeah, he got arrested and fined. He got caught playing Pokemon Go, and he got a 270 quid fine.
Sheesh.
I mean, I guess it's not a reasonable excuse, is it?
Well, it's exercise, surely.
It's exercise, but he was caught driving. He wasn't.
I see.
He wasn't doing it. He broke. BBC reports a man in England which is currently in lockdown. Obviously, it was 200 quid, so US dollars 270. Don't know why he decided to do it in that.
Right.
Right. Okay. So he drove 25 minutes across the border.
There. That's the mistake.
To look for characters. So it was like. Right, okay. But apparently, the police said to him, "This is not a reasonable excuse. Looking for Pokemon is not reasonable at all."
Why would you have said that? You just say, "I'm just going somewhere for a walk. I need a change of scenery. I'm going crazy. It is for mental health reasons. I am going to a different park."
Did I told you about my Pokemon Go story, didn't I?
Yeah, I think that was a while ago. So go on, tell your story because it was entertaining.
Reg, do you remember it?
I remember this.
So we were looking for water Pokemon. So we went driving, and it was me and Laura in the car, and we were trying to find a river, and it was like behind this company, what's it called?
Like a building.
Yeah, like offices and that. Anyway, then the police rolled up, which was terrifying because there was no one else there, and it was like 8:00 at night. And they sort of parked themselves, so I had to drive past them, but I couldn't quite squeeze past. So they wanted to talk to me, and I pulled up, and they're on my driver's side now. And he rolls his window down, and he goes, "What are you doing?" And for a split second, I considered telling him dogging, because I didn't want to tell him that I was looking for Pokemon.
That was the better option.
And yeah, I was like, I can't tell him the truth. That's not an option here. Anyway, then Laura sort of leaned over me and goes, "We're looking for Pokemon." He goes,
Yeah.
And then the other guy leaned over him and goes, "Really?"
I love it if you just do it. Like, I would have preferred it if you just said dogging.
Yeah. I very nearly did.
I couldn't believe when I can't remember why they picked Chester, but there was this massive event, official Pokemon Go event going on in Chester. Yeah, but one of the first ones was Chester. I can't remember what it was. I think it was when raids was starting, and I was working in the town centre at the time, and the town was absolutely packed. There was like entire streets just crowded with hundreds of people standing around playing Pokemon Go. It was just like people had travelled especially to come and play it.
Oh, bless them.
It was crazy. But yeah, there was something in the news recently about how much they made last year. I'm trying to find it now. I think it was about $2 billion on Pokemon Go. It was something crazy.
It's because they're getting the kids out walking again, weren't they, for the exercise and stuff?
Yeah, but if you're doing the walking, you don't need to buy stuff.
Do you buy, don't you have to buy refresher balls and stuff?
You don't have to.
Refresher balls.
The more you walk and stuff, you earn them, don't you? And
I have no idea.
I know, it's been a while.
I've never played a Pokemon, never mind Pokemon Go, so...
Refresher balls.
Refresher balls.
Well, there you go. $2 billion in 2020 after introducing groundbreaking changes. Wow. No, of course, because they changed it from April, I think, onwards, so you didn't have to go out because people couldn't go out. So you could sort of...
So what was this
how you can pay Tinder to pretend you live somewhere else? I think it was like that. They were wow. Tinder's got it down. Let's go for that.
That is shocking.
Mm.
So do you guys remember how frustrating Super Mario Sunshine was?
No.
Not really.
No. I made the mistake of buying the
All
Mario
Stars.
3D, the All-Stars, yeah. And it's occupied my life since I got it. It's so good, but so fucking frustrating because it has these little mini games where it's like they take the backpack off you that helps you float about and just says, right, okay, here's some insanely hard course that you've got to do without falling to your death. It's honestly, I forgot how annoying this game is.
She's playing Galaxy at the minute and she's enjoying it, but when you play it in the handheld mode, instead of having like the little cursor which is motion sort of censored, you've got to tap it all.
I was going to ask how you did that because you had to shake it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's saying that's doing her head in. Like tapping it all, so it's just getting a lot more frustrating because you're then trying to play the game one-handed, trying to tap all the screen to do that bit, which is a bit annoying.
Yeah, this is the problem. I think we mentioned it last week when you talked about Galaxy, but in fact we were talking about 64, weren't we? Mario 64, how it seems to have been a bit of a half-assed effort in the porting them onto the console. They're just running them in emulators rather than having sort of kind of rebuilt them. And that's why people were so angry that they were charging 40 quid for it. But at the same time, to pay 40 quid for 2, technically potentially 3 amazing, pretty big games that at one point people easily spent 40 quid a piece on them, if not more. 60, 70 for Mario 64.
What I was shocked about is the lack of deals on some titles. Like, for example, Smash Bros. You can't get that at a discount.
Yep, the Breath of the Wild's the same. Even a majority of Nintendo first-party games, you just can't get cheaper.
It's insane.
It's always been the case, though. It's generally they go down the route of eventually doing like the classics range. You know, they'll go, okay, here's these games that have already sold like 50 million copies, so here it is at £30 instead of £40, but with a red border around the box. And that's about all the discounts you'll get.
Yeah,
so it'll be the same for a while. But yeah, but by that point, no one cares about it. It's not like, you know, when, I mean, they don't even do it anymore, really. But with Sony, used to do the Platinum range for the PlayStation, and games went down to £20 instead of £40. But it was generally the games that sold, I think, a certain amount, wasn't it? That they did it, had to sell, you know, 1 million copies or something like that. And it was generally after about sort of 9 months to a year, you'd see them go on to this cheaper range, and it was really good. That, you know, you could pretty much be guaranteed they were going to be quality games. But I don't know, Nintendo do take a good 2-3 years, if not longer.
Yeah, so. Easy.
That's one of my only problems about. I mean, that's partly why I bought a 3DS and didn't buy a Switch at the time. This was like, you know, last year when I just wanted something to do. Because I was like, right, look at all the games.
As opposed to this year when you've got so much to do.
Well, yeah, technically no, but yeah, yes and no. I'm on a pretty good. I've got myself a little office now. So my partner Shell works from home. She's got the dining room table with all her work stuff, and generally I'd just been sat on the couch doing stuff for the last 9 months or whatever. And I was like, I want to be more productive. I want a little desk. I want to see, you know, I want to sit somewhere and go, I'm doing stuff now. I'm doing work. So I bought myself a little £30 desk, which sits in my bedroom. I've got my Mac sat there. I've got my microphone there for recording sort of voiceovers and things like that. And I'm just working. So I'm getting into a bit of a flow. I've released a video a week for all of 2021, which, yes, that is only 2.5 weeks, but I stand by that statement.
It's not bad, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's 2.5 more than I've released this year.
Exactly.
And me.
Exactly. And I have some big ideas. I've got a little note, the little sort of sticky pad open on my Mac that's got a list of all the things I want to do, and by gosh, they are getting done this year. So get ready.
Interesting. I like it. And can these all be done virtually as well? Seems we're probably still not allowed to be out in the wild.
Yeah, what's
I mean, most of them is just me doing it. I'll leave you guys out of it, so you don't have to go out your way and find time to do something. The only thing I would love to do is do a and this is a call out. If anyone out there is listening and wants to get involved with it, I would love to do, I'll say fortnightly because it's probably a little bit more in depth, but a fortnightly podcast that is a like a quiz show. You know, 30 minutes, 60 minutes maybe max, but one of you guys each time against someone, like against a listener.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, 3 rounds, something like that, and we've got plenty of different rounds we can do that we've come up with over the years. So, I would love to do something like that. So, yeah, I figure that wouldn't be too much of a drain on you guys' time.
No, I'm into
That'd be awesome.
All right, well, let's get planning on that then.
Nice. That's good. So you've come up with loads of ideas and plans and stuff. This year I've not really done much.
Well, we're only, looks at calendar, 18 days into the month. So
you know what I have done though? I have watched.
Plenty more time.
I finally got around to watching Onwards.
All right, brilliant. Good.
Soul.
What did you think?
Soul was all right, but I really enjoyed Onwards.
Yeah, I knew you would love Onward.
Onwards just
so
hit
good.
me.
I cried.
Oh, of course, because the whole
the
because you're a dad and all that.
bitch at the end of it.
Yeah.
I was just like proper, like me and Ash were like snuggling on the couch watching it, and then she just looked up and she was like, "You all right there?" And I was like, "Mm-hmm."
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, "Fuck you, Pixar. The only films I've cried at in the past few years have been Up, and now this." Just like, fuck you, Pixar, for making me use these emotional feels.
Keep fucking doing it, don't they?
So then we went and watched Bad Boys for Life because
that evens it out a bit.
Watching that, so something a bit more manlier, and that's awesome.
Yeah,
and
I thought it was pretty good.
And then we failed horrendously by watching an awful film last night, and that is Blumhouse's Fantasy Island.
Oh right, okay.
Oh boy!
Why was it bad?
Have you ever seen what the original Fantasy Island is?
I've only seen snippet bits.
Yeah, you've heard of, I guess, through just popular culture. You've just heard of what it is. Yeah.
So this is a horror take on it.
Mm-hmm.
What they've done, and it, like I was saying, trying to defend why we watched it for a little bit longer than what we should have done, because it started off really well. It started off a bit like it's Hostel, isn't it, where they kidnap the people? Yeah. So it starts off a little bit like Hostel.
Wait, what's this?
This is Fantasy Island. It's called Blumhouse's Fantasy Island.
Oh, it's not the thing that I watched, the Alice thing on Netflix.
No. So this is basically, you can go to this one particular island, and this island apparently can grant your one fantasy, whatever it is, and you've got to see it all the way through. Once it starts, you can't end it because you're like, no, I don't want it anymore. You've got to live it out. So you've got to make sure it's the right fantasy you choose.
Okay.
So
sounds like most of my relationships. No, I don't want it anymore.
So this starts off with this girl going, well, I was bullied all the way through school. She teased me. They picked on me. They called me everything. They hit me. She was saying this one girl was just absolutely hounding her and just made her life hell. So she ended up having to quit school, and she had no friends. Everyone known her as this one particular thing. So she wanted revenge. She wanted to hurt this woman, and she thought, go to this island, and she thought it was going to be a hologram or a clone, something robotic, that she could just go and live out that fantasy of hurting someone that looked just like this girl. And then she got there. She had to go in this little control room bit, and the screens come up, and this girl that she was picking on her was tied down to a chair, and she was like, "Oh my god, this looks like so realistic. It looks just like her." And she starts pressing buttons, and she's doing waterboarding, and then she's got boiling hot water that goes on her, and then she gets electric little shocks and starts electrocuting her, tasering her, and she's like, "This is really good." And then some surgeon comes out, and a phone call happens, and then she realizes that it is actually this woman, and it's not a fake thing, and she's like, "Oh my god!" So she has to try and break her out, but I was like, "Ooh, this is dark." And then it just gets really shit, really, really awful. And we both sat there, but Ash was watching it, so I was like, okay, so she's into this, so I'll just sit through it. And then we got right towards the tail end of it, and she was like, "Oh my god, this is just awful." And I was like, "Oh right, so you don't like it then? Great, because this is shit." But we're now 90% of the way through it,
yeah.
So we may as well finish it. I was like, it's very rare we watch films and we've got so many recorded to get through, and we're like, you know what, we watched 3 really good films so far, so we're on a roll. And then we watched that, and it's now just stopped us from wanting to watch any films. The minute we're like, let's find a new series and just watch something else to do. Because what we did watch, which is quite, I think it is new as well anyway, is The Act on Amazon Prime, which is based on the true story. Gypsy Rose, what's her name? Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and her mum Dee Dee. Don't know if you know this. So there's in real life in America, there was this mum who was basically in an abusive relationship with her daughter. So she was, when the kid was a baby, she fell off like a trampoline, and her mum just become really overprotective and was like, "Oh my god!" and started plowing her full of drugs to like stop the pain in her leg to begin with, and put her in a wheelchair. And then she realised that the older she was getting, she might potentially lose her. So she was like, "You can't get out of the wheelchair because you haven't walked for that long. Now that your legs aren't going to be able to handle it. So just keep in this, and we'll keep you going." And then literally started having hypochondriac, isn't it? When you start thinking that you're realer than what you think you are.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh my god, she's not eating properly, so she can't swallow food." And she didn't. She just had like tonsillitis or something. So then they ended up putting like a feeding tube in her. And then she started telling them all that she had leukemia and muscular dystrophy. So that's why she couldn't walk. And she was stealing doctors' prescription sheets while she was there and writing out what she thought this kid needed. Until in the end, like halfway through it, the girl who's now, she hits 18 in the thing and then realizes that she's actually 21 because her mum's lied about her age all the way through it as well. So she wakes up in a bed and just puts her feet out, and she tests it just to see if she could walk. And she gets up off the bed and just walks around. And she's like, "Oh my god!" And then all the stuff, she's like, "Well, she's lied about that. Maybe I can eat this food then." And then she eats the food, and she's like, "Oh my god, I can have sugar, I can swallow, I can eat all this, I can do all this sort of stuff." And then she goes to like this first ever convention and sees boys, and she's like, "Oh my god, I love a boyfriend." So then starts looking into like on the internet when her mum's in bed, starts looking about like how to kiss boys, how to do all this. And then she finds a lad online, and they fall in love like online. She's like, "I can't do anything now because my mum still thinks I'm postbound and I can't do anything without her," and blah blah blah. She's like, "I just wish that someone could kill my mum." And the lad's like, "I'll do it." So the lad actually goes and kills her mum, and it's like the entire story is all like everything that happens throughout it all. And then at the end of it, when they both get caught, they like will both go down together like Bonnie and Clyde. And then when they're in the trial room, her attorney goes, "Oh yeah, well, she's been going through emotional trauma and abuse, so she needs to be trialed separately. So just trial that guy, and he gets life without parole, and she only gets 10 years." And I was like, "Fucking hell!" But it's like it's all based on a proper, full-on, true thing, and I'm like, how the fuck could you ever do that to your kid? It's just like
I'm glad I don't need to watch it now anyway.
Well, yeah, it's been everywhere, hasn't it? But
you need to watch I'll Be Gone in the Dark.
I'll Be Gone in the
Not even heard of that.
Oh my god! Well, yeah, I think you might have heard some bits of it. So Patton Oswalt.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Golden State Killer?
Nope.
So Golden State Killer was this guy that used to go around, sneak into people's houses back in the I don't know when it was, in the past.
Yeah, in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, and what he used to do is, there's a clever little muffin. He used to balance plates on the back of the husband while he raped the wife in the next room. So shit like that. And he used to say, like, "Don't move over here. You move, I'll kill your wife." And that's what the plates were for, so he didn't move.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, really fucking dark stuff. So he, they didn't know who he was. It was a serial killer. They didn't find out. So then Patton's wife, Michelle McNamara, starts getting really obsessed with the case because it's still not been cracked. So she starts writing a book called I'll Be Gone in the Dark. And starts like documenting all this like obsessive behavior of hers of trying to figure out who this killer was, like opening the cases back up, getting in touch with like police departments and getting evidence and finding out things that no one else had ever found out before. The problem being was Michelle McNamara died whilst writing the book, And it was fucking horrible. It was because of the book that she died. She was taking like energy meds to like keep her going, and she wasn't sleeping, and she ended up just fucking killing herself by like just obsessing over this murder. And it was horrible for Patton because he went in to give her a coffee and she was fucking dead. So he sort of picked up where she left off. And all the work that she did actually got him found out. They found out who he was. And they got a conviction out of it, and Patton ends up like publishing the book on her behalf. It was one of the bestsellers, and there's just this paragraph that she writes for if they ever found him, and it's so powerful and so amazing, and you need to watch it. I think it's 4 or 6 parts. It's on Amazon Prime, I think.
Is it on Amazon Prime, is it?
Yeah, it's really, really worth watching. A lot of Patton Oswalt in it as well, which is nice because I really like him.
I've not seen him in anything
now
for
TV.
ages.
I'm just having a look. It's a HBO show.
Yeah, we watched last night, Young Adult or something, which he's in.
Yeah, he's in that. Big fan of Dan Harmon, big friend of Dan Harmon. Sorry, him and Dan Harmon.
He was in Community, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He was the surgeon, the doctor.
So do we have any more serial killer / torture horror movies we want to talk about? Do you want just to keep the tone down where it is, or should we try and
I mean, I think
lift it up?
The problem I've got is I'm stuck in a rut right now. I'm not like in the best of moods, so I think I'm in my element talking about serial killer.
Brilliant.
Well, I may as well.
Okay.
The first time I met Ash's dad, the folks when I went round to do it, I was like, so what's like your mum into? What's your dad into? And she's like, oh, my mum's is like this, and this. And I was like, what about your dad? She's like, well, he loves Liverpool, and he loves serial killers. She's like, anything at all about serial killers? And I'm like, okay. And I get there, and he's like the friendliest person in the world, like ever. Like, but you know when you think someone's putting in an effort to be friendly, and like, hey, how you doing? Oh, can I get you this? Can I do this? Oh my god, oh, so lovely to see you. I'm like, like. I know what you watch and stuff, and this is quite creepy. And are you planning on murdering me? And I'm just like, everything's fine, everything's good. But it turns out he's just that happy. He's still 11 years down the line. He's still that exact same person. But you can ask him anything at all about serial killers. And like in our first conversation, I was like, oh, that's what you're into. And he's like, I love reading about serial killers and watching films and series about serial killers. But every birthday or Christmas, there's always like a serial killer film. We'll find him and like grab him. So
I'm almost sure he'll know about I'll Be Gone in the Dark. I'm almost positive of it. If not the TV show, he'll know about the book.
I've never heard. They've just got my Amazon Prime, so he'll be all over that now. I'll message him about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, no, I think it's on Now TV because it's a HBO show and that's Sky Atlantic. So.
Oh, is that Sky Atlantic then?
I imagine so.
I should have that on my Sky. That's cool. I'll download that and get onto that one because we need a new series because we, like I said, we just finished that one that I've ruined for you all.
I almost can't believe that I've never heard any of that about. I mean, it's not specifically about Patton Oswalt, but
it was. I mean, because he was really heavily involved in it.
Yeah, I know exactly. I mean, it's about his ex-wife technically, but the fact that I thought I'd have heard something about
I was going to say about what
happening and him being involved, but yeah, crazy.
They don't call them ex-wives; they call them
widows.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mm-hmm.
Can we go to Disneyland this year, please?
Well, I can't really answer that, to be quite honest.
If the world opens up again, I mean.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
And while we're talking about Disney...
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about Disney Plus. Yes, it is. Wandavision.
Oh my God, I watched it twice. I watched both episodes twice.
Now, I think we, and probably a good chunk of people... are like, right, I totally understand. This was the first 2 episodes of like a 10-episode thing. And, I see where it's going. I'm really worried that there's people who tuned in. And I saw at least one person's reaction being, I don't get it. That they've turned this on and suddenly it's this weird, 60s sitcom.
and then 70s, and then
yeah, absolutely. It's moving to it'd be 70s next
So
week apparently.
good.
Now it's in colour. Spoilers, but yeah. So I mean, I thought it was great and a really good start. I'm glad they gave us 2 episodes because it really let you sort of, ease into it and start to be like, right, this is really. I really hope this carries on the way it's going and starts to open stuff up. I love a good mystery like that. But yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there have turned it on and sat there and gone, what on earth is this? And it was also, I thought it was amazing that if you did take the whole Marvel side out of it, it was actually a moderately entertaining, cheesy sitcom. Like the sitcom side story was interesting enough to keep that going, but also then you've got the side of the Marvel fans going, right, what's this, what's that, what's going on with this, how's this linking into that? So yeah, really well done. Can't wait to see more. I was really gutted when I turned on Disney Plus and saw it was only 2 episodes, and I was like, oh yeah, that's how they do it.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, because I've literally just finished it about 2 weeks ago watching The Mandalorian. So we just had 2 seasons to get through it all in one go. We didn't have to wait week by week by week. So that was great.
I wish I liked it.
You didn't like The Mandalorian?
Just didn't get it.
Oh my days.
I might try again, but
you probably should because it's so good.
It's like, to be fair, my dad got
a
season and a half through it. Now he's got further in it now, and he's like, yeah, I'm still like when he's met Ahsoka now.
Okay.
And he was just like,
oh, good, a lightsaber.
Yeah, well, I thought, oh, you'll like this now because there's Jedi in it. And he was like, it just seems like they forced her in it. It's like, right, okay, so there's no helping you on this one, is there? You're just not a fan of it. And he's not feeling it, not
Fair
feeling it
enough.
all, and he loves him some Star Wars.
Yeah,
So,
over the last couple of years since I've been with Shell, she'd never really seen any Star Wars films, so we started trying to watch, trying to work our way through them, and we watched Rogue One to start with because I thought that's quite good as a prequel to A New Hope, and it's probably the most accessible one, and I think it's the best one. It's my favorite one. And then we started working through, and we got through 4, and we got through 5. And we started watching Return of the Jedi, and she was asleep within about 5 minutes. Not because there was anything wrong with it; she was just tired. And then we've never got back into watching them again. But after watching The Mandalorian, she was like, "We should carry on watching Star Wars." Okay, so on Saturday we watched Return of the Jedi, and watching that, there was so many things I noticed in that felt the same as The Mandalorian, and the new sequels feel nothing like it. I'm not saying they're bad. I still quite like the 3. I don't think they're amazing. They're not like, as iconic as they probably wanted them to be, but they're good films. Yeah. But those 3, and like I say, watching Return of the Jedi, I was just like, this just feels exactly like The Mandalorian in places, to the point where it's amazing the job they've done to make it so Star Wars, so original Star Wars. So big fan of that. It's great.
Nice. Yeah.
And the fact that Baby Yoda didn't get over, I really expected to be sick of Baby Yoda by the time, I started watching it, but at no point does he ever become, I don't think, like too much and annoying and just like an overplayed joke.
They don't stick him in like most of the episode, do they?
No.
Like bits and pieces of it, so it's fine. You can get through it without thinking, "Oh God, not him again."
No, exactly. Really, it's so well done. It's absolutely brilliant. But yeah, Wandavision, I'm very, very intrigued with where it's going forward. I can see where they're drawing some of the stories from, and I've talked about it a lot on this podcast. But talked about House of M, which looks like they're adapted in some way. Obviously, there's no X-Men, there's no mutants in that world yet, but there's definitely aspects of that, such as the spoilers, the pregnancy and things like that, how she's created just out of nothing the fact that she's pregnant, and that is basically what happens in House of M. She has a couple of kids that she just imagines into existence because she can completely control reality. But there's so many. It's one of those things that I feel like I probably need to watch it a couple of times to get all the little references.
Please tell me if I'm getting something this really, really wrong.
Okay.
But isn't she dead?
So Vision died.
Yeah.
She didn't die.
Are you sure?
Yeah, Vision's the mind gem got ripped out of him at the end of Infinity War by Thanos. That was the last gem he needed. So he got it. So that's him dead. She didn't die. She was in the final battle in Endgame.
I thought she was dead.
No, she's not dead, but he is. So, what it seems to be is it's her grieving and kind of losing it because he's dead and everything she's been through. So we'll see. We'll see if it's her creating all this or whether it's someone else that's put her in this, because there's all these, like the whole thing about SHIELD, Agents of SHIELD.
Yeah.
Okay. There's another agency called SWORD, and it's SWORD that have been showing up in the first 2 episodes. The SWORD logo that was on like a little folder at the end of episode 1, and on the back of the beekeeper's costume. So they're involved somehow, but whether they're trying to get her out of it or whether they're responsible for it. And then there's also one character in particular who it looks pretty certain that one of the characters that's showing up in the show, which I won't say because I won't spoil it because I think it probably is right. It looks like there is one character from the comics that may be involved somehow. And this person has already shown up in the TV show. In fact, 2 people that are from the Marvel world that have shown up in this TV show, but one they've not really said that it's them. Anyway, I don't want to really go too much into it because I think it's coming out once a week, right? I think so. Every Sunday, something like that.
Yeah, I know it's once a week, isn't it? I think it's towards the end of the week. I think it's Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, and I'm curious where they go from here in terms of the Marvel universe going forward, because I was reading through I think it was on IGN about this is everything they've got planned, and here's all the dates that they've got announced. So you've obviously got Black Widow coming out in May, and then you've got, I think, Shang-Chi coming out in like October or something like that. There's so many films they've got, and now everything's been sort of pushed back a little bit. It's all going to end up coming at once. I think Eternals is November, so we've got 3 films potentially coming out this year. And I think, especially with Black Widow, surely we're at the point when if it can't come out in May, they're just going to dump it on streaming.
Yeah, 100%.
Because WandaVision was never supposed to be the next, like the first part of Phase 4. It was always supposed to be like, a bit further in. But now it's been released first. Plus we've got, I think, Winter Soldier,
Falcon and
Winter Soldier, that comes out in March, and then Loki comes out in May. So there's so much coming soon.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those again, isn't it, where it just literally hits and it's going to be superhero overload.
Yeah.
Because you've also got all the DC stuff as well coming in, so it's not just Marvel, it's Marvel and DC stuff.
Yeah, but at least I don't think there's an awful lot that they're working on right now. Obviously, we've got Suicide Squad, but how linked into their whole world that's going to be, I don't know. And Flash, I don't even know whether they've started filming that.
Yeah, Flash. I think it's not coming out until 2022 now. I think 2022 is when you're just going to have the fuck ton of DC overloads.
Yeah, probably.
Loads of that stuff's coming out, so you'll have the
the Snyder Cut.
Legend of Tomorrow, Snyder Cut. You've got the Suicide Squad TV show with John Cena as the Peacemaker.
They're doing a Peacemaker show, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got that as well. You've got the Suicide Squad game. You've got the Gotham Knights game. They're blowing up the multiverse as well, aren't they? The 52, and then they're doing like another shit ton of animated shows and normal comic runs and the Batman film, and then the Batman Gotham spin-off. It's following the Gotham GPD, which isn't the same as Gotham.
Yeah, which isn't Gotham.
Yeah, slightly different than Gotham.
Well, they seem to be they do still seem to really focus on a lot of TV. You know, there's just so many DC TV shows, and it's
because it's what they knew they couldn't outdo Marvel. Yeah. So, like, you know what, we can't outdo them on, and now I don't think they're going to be able to keep that going. Is the TV. TV, they're brilliant at, but now that they can start throwing now Disney behind them, you've got the weight of the money for Disney to be like, look how fucking good we can do with like Mandalorian and stuff. We'll do this for MCU. And like,
but
look how
now they've got HBO money,
like
the HBO Max money to throw behind it.
Like Loki looks like an actual proper film that they're just broken down into parts. It looks fucking phenomenal. So, you know, I think Marvel have come out the door swinging here, and I think if this carries on going the way it is with cinema and COVID and stuff, I can see a lot more. It's like big, huge, what would have been movie titles being turned into series.
Yeah, well, just Snyder Cut's not being released as a 4-episode show now. It's being released just straight as a film, as a 4-hour film. Which,
he does love doing them.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Watchmen film, but that is the ultimate cut of Watchmen, which is still it's great, but it is absolutely at the limit of where I can sit down and watch a film, and I think that's about 3 hours and 20, and that is this is going to be 4 hours.
In all fairness, we sat through the extended edition of Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, which is like 4.5 hours. So
yeah, true.
If we sat through that, I'm pretty sure you could sit through that. I mean, the one thing about the Lord of the Rings film was it was a good film.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, we've seen the Justice League. We know that it's going to be, you know, a slightly different Justice League, but in effect, it can't really alter what was. So I know it's going to be like drastically different, but still going to be the same premise. It's still going to be the exact same, probably storyline coming through, but with just his bits added in and tonally different. So I don't think it's going to be the change everyone's believing it's going to be, and it's, you know, it's still going to be a wank film. But, you know, we're going to watch it. That's the thing.
Yeah, maybe in 2 or 3 sittings.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, if it grips, like, it'll probably take me about a year to watch, but, you know, I'll get there. Intrigued.
Yeah, I mean, I am intrigued to see how different it is, because what I don't want to be doing is sat there watching a film where I already have seen, you know, 30% of it or something like that, and it feels like there must be still quite a lot that was in the original release, but I don't know.
I think the thing is, we know it's just going to accumulate into a massive CGI mess. Like that's a in fact. So I was working Friday, and Ash was home with Oliver, and she was like, "I'm going to put on a Disney Plus and watch a film with Oliver." She put on Black Panther because she hadn't seen it.
Okay.
And she was like, "Has this got any bits in Oliver might like?" I was like, "Well, it's quite colourful at times, and you know, there's lots of fighting in it at some point, so yeah, you might watch bits and pieces." And he literally played around the living room like the entire film until the car chase scene came on. And, you know, he's jumping across soon, and only because Kanye started playing, so it was like really loud music playing with like a proper beat to it, and he was like, ooh, and started just like grooving to the music, and I was like, legend, absolute legend. And then he went about playing. And so I finished work when he came through. So Ash was like, "I'm going to carry on watching it." I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." Because you go to watching it, and I didn't realize like how poor, how poor the CGI was at the tail end of, like how poor the CGI was on Black Panther until we watched it again. And I was like,
as he starts jumping around the caves and stuff,
And I was like, it's just like a DC film. And she was like, And then I realised she's so fortunate that she's not sat through any of the DC films.
Fair enough.
Where we have, and I'm like, and I know I'll continue to do so. It's like if they redo, when the Batman comes out and stuff, I know I'll go watch it with you. Like when anything comes like that, I know I'll be like, go on then. I'm like, but I know we will because we like to punish ourselves.
Fair enough.
So glad you and Dan went to watch.
Yeah, I feel like I'm so glad you two went to watch that.
But you haven't seen, you haven't been to see, well, I suppose this is because you haven't been able to go and see Wonder Woman. Would you have gone if the opportunity had been there, if you hadn't been locked in your house?
If you were like, do you want to try to go and watch Wonder Woman? I would have been like, yeah, go on.
Fair enough.
Well, yeah, because we would have watched it and then potted about it and been like,
get out of Wales, Reg.
Pretty poop.
Start inviting these again.
It just made me laugh because it's on Amazon Prime and on Sky Store. $16.99.
Yeah, it's another one of these,
wow.
Premiere rental or whatever they're calling them.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I hate the fact that we can't have HBO Go. HBO Max, sorry, and I hate it even more because I really, really want to watch the Mortal Kombat film when that comes out, and that's going straight to it.
Yeah,
damn it.
But that's going to it as part of the Warner Brothers deal, though, right? Not just because they've.
Oh no, it is part of the Warner Brothers thing.
Yeah, so it'll be coming out here just at the cinema. Yeah,
because if you heard any of like the latest interviews and stuff that's been going.
No, I've seen the screenshots. I've seen the on-set photos or whatnot.
Yeah, when they're talking about actually how they started putting in like really brutal fatalities and stuff into it, and I was like, for the first time ever, it was like what the original films were missing was the fatalities and stuff. We put them in, and I'm like, oh, nice. Now I'm getting more and more intrigued by it because like the Mortal Kombat web series was fucking brilliant. Like that was really good, and they should have done an actual proper TV series like that. But I know they messed up after the awful Mortal Kombat. Was it Conquest?
Yeah.
That was the TV series. It was just awful. That fan-made, literally web series was amazing. It was on like YouTube. Absolutely loved that. Was it Legacy? I think it was called Mortal Kombat Legacy.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It was so good, so good. So hopefully after that, this will be class. And they've started getting the story and stuff good for the latest Mortal Kombat games. So I've got high hopes for this one.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. You'll hate me for saying it, but I was never a fan of the original ones, to be honest. But it was this new one does at least look like they're trying a bit harder.
Mortal Kombat is my ultimate guilty pleasure.
Oh, okay.
I had to have 2 copies of the video cassette because I watched it that much that I worn the tape out of it. So I had a second cassette bought for me, and I had the soundtrack for that film.
Oh, well, I get that.
I even had the soundtrack to the sequel one, but that wasn't my request because I watched the second film, Annihilation, and was like, this is awful. And then I got bought for my birthday the Mortal Kombat Annihilation soundtrack, and I'm like,
I know how much you love that first soundtrack, so naturally.
So, but the first Mortal Kombat film is brilliant, and it's got so many quotable lines in it. And Garu looked amazing as well. Like still to this point, he holds up quite well. So yeah, but I agree. The second one was shite. Conquest was awful, the TV series, but the web series, if you haven't watched it, it's only some like 6 parts or something. Only small, about like 15-20 minutes max. And they are gritty and dark and grim and just fantastic. Well worth a mooch.
Well, speaking of things that are old and really, really awesome, the Scott Pilgrim game finally got re-released this week.
Yeah.
We talked about the limited run edition last week. Shaun, are you still with us?
Yeah, I am.
You eating your pizza?
No, I'm just trying to find out where it is.
Fair enough. So, did you ever have the Scott Pilgrim game on your Xbox?
I did.
Yeah. Okay. So they re-released it now. It's out on the Xbox One. It's on the Switch. It's on the PS4. It's on PC. And there's a limited edition version that Limited Run Games are doing to get a physical copy. And apparently, it sold 25,000 copies of the Switch version. So they haven't said how many of the PS4 version yet, but just the Switch version alone, 25,000 copies in 3 hours of the physical edition on Limited Run Games website, which is apparently the biggest selling release of all time. They've never sold that many of a single item, which is just insane, to the point where, Reg, you mentioned last week that they rarely do Xbox because you need to sell a certain amount.
Yeah.
You need to promise you're going to release a certain amount. So they're apparently going to release an Xbox version in the next few weeks.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. Here you go. At a future date, it says, actually. It says. But I got it. And there's certain games that I can play co-op with Shell, with my partner. And mostly they are Lego games. We've had to go Little Big Planet and things like that. It's generally the fun platform games. But I thought, what, let's give this a go, because she really, really likes. She knows how much I love Scott Pilgrim, and she really liked it when we saw it. We then went to see it at the cinema when they were open, and she does really like it. So I thought, let's give this a go. It's a hard game, but it's it's 6 buttons you've got to worry about, and that's about it. And yeah, we had a play, and she absolutely loved it. So I'm made up that I can actually sit and play this with someone now.
Nice.
Have you bought it for the Switch yet, Reg?
It's being bought on payday.
Nice. Okay. Well, let me know, and then I can play with someone better.
Yeah, I say to Shaun as well. He needs to grab it.
Yeah.
We can.
Can you do 3-player?
You can do up to 4-player, mate. You can have the full band.
Can you?
exciting.
Oh, of course you can.
Oh yeah.
That would be amazing. I would love that so much. It's so. I mean, it's so much fun. It's really hard, but it's just a good level of difficulty. And am I right? Because it's been a while, but you can't continue from where you left off, can you? You can, if you die mid game, yeah, you can get an extra credit and you can start again from where you were, but you can't finish playing.
You've got to
turn off and go back the next day. Yeah, you've got to. So it's like an old school game.
Yeah, so all you do is put your console in sleep mode.
Fair enough, if that's all you want to play. But
but I'm pretty sure if you leave it halfway, you'd be like, I'm just jump back in and play that.
No, probably not. It's probably one of those things that every now and again, maybe every weekend, we might have a go, and then, but in midweek, I want to sit and play Tony Hawk's or something. So it's fine. We'll work through it, because the more we play it, the more lives we'll have left when we get through the first level. So it's okay. Noticed a few glitches with it though, like not being able to enter some of the shops and things. One person can go in, but the second person can't join them. So I'm sure that'll all get ironed out, but it's well worth it. It's £12. It's a bargain, absolute bargain.
Yeah, it does look incredible.
It's really good. Yeah, and the soundtrack alone, just.
Have you seen in the Slack group on the chat? Sorry, on this Skype thing, I just put an article up about the soundtrack from Kotaku. They were saying, like, obviously the game's out now, so he went to Anamanaguchi and was like,
yes.
So after years of doing it, like, what do you think of it? And they were like, it's still one of our favorite things we've ever done. So they then get them to do the entire playlist. And it's 31 minutes of just pure unadulterated, awesome tunage on that article. So you need to go through it. Yeah,
well, Anamanaguchi did I think it was mid last year when everyone was doing a lot of the online festivals and stuff from home, and then they stream concerts and stuff like that. There was a sort of an electro festival called Secret Sky. It's called Second Sky when they do it for real, and they did Secret Sky online, and Anamanaguchi played the entirety of the USA album online, and it was really, really good. Like, you can see the whole thing on their YouTube page, and that was great. And they've basically done the same thing with the Scott Pilgrim soundtrack, which I bet was a lot harder because at least their last two albums have been very band heavy.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? They've been like, okay, we can play the guitar, we can play the bass, we can play, and all that sort of stuff, but and the drums. Whereas the Scott Pilgrim, the game soundtrack, is very much like a game soundtrack, like an old 16-bit game soundtrack. So I haven't watched it yet, but it looks like it's going to be worth 40 minutes of my time.
100%.
They're so good. I love that group. And I was devastated that they were supposed to be touring the UK last March. And I was going to go, and then I decided to book a trip to Japan instead. So I was kind of gutted because I couldn't go.
But then, isn't it?
Yeah, but then the tour got cancelled.
Wow.
They don't have an awful lot of luck with UK tours. I think we've seen them twice now, and that is, as far as I'm aware, the only two times they've managed to come over to the UK, because there was visa troubles apparently. At one point, one of them got deported and got to the airport and was sent home. So I remember a tour got cancelled at one point. But yeah, and then COVID. I'm sure they'll be back.
Oh yeah,
actually. But they're such a good live band.
Well, we were talking about them before you came on, and I was saying that I was gutted that I never got the chance to join you last time, and now I'll probably never get a chance to see them again.
Oh, you will, Reg. Gigs will return. It's fine.
They better.
They will. I had something else I wanted to talk about that I left open on a tab on my phone, and I've forgotten what it was. Where are we? There we go. Oh yeah, I'm glad Shaun's on for this, because this is something that he will be remotely interested in. But Cameo, the website Cameo. So you can pay celebrities. You can't see me doing inverted commas, but I am doing inverted commas here. Celebrities to record a message for you, such as you could pay Pat Sharp to endorse your podcast and things like that.
That's how. Yeah.
No. Pat Sharp he liked us so much that he wanted to do it. He did not necessarily get paid to do it, I'm sure. But anyway, and there's a lot of people on there. There's some fairly big people. I mean, like
people. Ed from Bare Naked Ladies.
Yeah, and Kevin Smith went on there, but he only went on there to make money for, like, I think he did it for charity at one point, and then he also did it for refitting and moving the secret stash in Jersey. They're moving down the road to a bigger place, so things like that. So it was, he's not just going, I want money, so I'm going to charge people $200 to do a message for him. And even he got absolutely inundated. But do you know who the biggest earner of 2020 was? And I will be surprised if you guess, to be quite honest. But Shaun might be able to guess because I've said it's kind of relevant and it might be interesting to him.
Ooh.
Elon Musk.
No. Can you imagine?
No idea. Go on.
Need that extra scratch to fire off some more rockets.
It's someone from Scrubs.
Close. Very close.
From The Office?
From The Office. The top earner of 2020 was Kevin Malone.
No way.
So Brian Baumgartner is his name. So Kevin, I can't remember whether you've seen any episodes, Reg, but he's the big, slow guy, basically. Right, his whole thing is he's not very bright and likes food and makes the best chili in the entire county. But yeah, apparently he raked in more than $1 million by doing video messages for people.
Chris, you wouldn't need to work properly again, would you?
No, absolutely.
If you had the ability to do the cameos, because as you're saying with Kevin Smith, Ed from Bare Naked Ladies did it for still doing it for different charities and stuff, and he's doing $300, and you get your favorite Bare Naked Lady song. He will personalize it and customize it to include you or something about what you want in the song, and then he'll do like a 3.5-minute clip of just chatting shit to you in it. And he was like, well, hopefully we'll get some people wanting it. And he's been like absolutely hounded by people for it. And I was like, fucking hell, $300 just to be like, I want something from the ladies. It's just, it's mental. If they get inundated, then God knows like how the big celebs that go on it get.
Yeah, well, you think, you might go, well, $300 sounds a lot, but then you've got to price it at a point where you're not going to get thousands of them, and just have a backlog of messages that you've got to record for people. So it must be kind of difficult to hit that sweet spot. But so this guy from The Office is charging $185 per message. And the fact that for him to have earned $1 million, he had to do 5,128 messages at that price to be able to get $1 million. So that is, what's that? That's about 15 a day?
Yeah, must be.
I suppose they're only 5 minutes long, 2 minutes in some cases. And I've seen some of them. I've not his, but I've seen a lot of messages that people have done, and they are just one take into a camera, into their phone. Doesn't matter where they're just in their kitchen or they're walking down the street. They're just in these. They're not like produced videos. They are just, hey, this is Dave, and I'm on that show you really like. Oh, I'm sorry that you're getting your appendix out, but you're gonna do fine. Okay, thanks. Have a nice day. Bye. Have you ever seen the band Sugar Ray?
Yeah.
Okay, so the lead singer of Sugar Ray, Mark McGrath. Yeah, that's it. Mark McGrath, he's got particularly famous for doing cameos for people, but specifically either quitting their job or breakups. And it's not even like he advertised it, but you can choose whether you want to make your response public. And if they're there on the site, you can literally just watch the messages that, like, oh, hey, sorry, Jody, but Chad's had enough and he wants to call it a day. And you'll be able to just go on the site and watch it. So people have seen that this is happening, and it seems to have taken off as a thing. You get Mark McGrath to break up with your girlfriend. But his are so funny as well, because he has this catchphrase that he starts every single one. He's like, hey, it's Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray. Off the charts, but always in your hearts. Every single one. It's amazing. Oh, dear. But yeah, it's good. Imagine being... being on something like The Office, which is just, it seems to just be everyone, or half of the United States seems to be obsessed with it, to the point where they're talking about rebooting / spinning off it.
Well, you're surprised, because apparently last year alone, the US, like people in the US, that doesn't include like Shaun watching it for that amount of time. They watched 50 billion hours or something of the US Office. Yeah,
it's one of the biggest things on Hulu, even though it was, it wasn't even at the time when it was on TV. It was big enough for NBC to keep renewing it, but it was never like, Friends ratings or anything like that. But it just seems to have kept this sort of momentum, and it's just built and built and built. So yes, it doesn't surprise me. But yeah, to be on that show, technically starting off as a bit of a lot of I think the people who work in the office that aren't the main characters, or the main sort of maybe 4 or 5, were sort of side characters, probably didn't expect that much of it. And as the seasons go on, all the side characters start to take on as much of a role as the bigger ones. So to get to that point and then suddenly be like, okay, well, I'm going to start doing $200 2-minute videos for people and earning $1 million. It's just absolutely insane. Good on him. Plus he had a podcast on Spotify where he actually just sat and talked about The Office, and talked to fans of The Office and people who were in The Office and involved in making it. So that was one of the 3 Office related podcasts that were out over the last few years. Crazy. Anyway, sorry. Yeah. I thought at least one of you guys might find that interesting.
It is interesting.
Exactly. And also, apparently, we talked a couple of weeks ago about there being after about 7 years of people playing Nier or Automata, them finding a sort of a secret, one of the final secrets that the producer had put into the game. So that was like say 5 or 6 years. Imagine though, after, where are we? I'm trying to see how many years ago it was. Okay, well, they discovered this in this game in 2016, but the game had been out for a long time. So in Rainbow Road, there is an ultra shortcut you can do where you basically take a jump and it takes you right the way from pretty much the start of the lap right the way to the finishing line. So you can complete a lap in next to no time, like in like 10 seconds. And before about 2 weeks ago, the only way they'd been able to do it was by putting, letting the computer play it, basically programming it in, and it would hit this certain pixel and it would jump and it would land in exactly the right place if you got the boost right. And no one had been able to do it until, like say, a couple of weeks ago, when French Mario Kart fan Arthur P was the first person to ever do it without tool assist. Oh, this is the Wii version, but that's still what, 15-year-old game, something like that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Just insane. I think we were at, what was that? Play Expo. You know, the retro, the one that the Game Genies attended. And I remember they had it was on the SNES version, but they had SNES set up and someone doing speed run, and it was Rainbow Road, and it was like to try and break the world record for the fastest lap. And I remember watching them for a few minutes, and they were just sat there. They'd take the first corner, and they would know immediately as they were hitting the first corner whether they were on a good run or not. So 9 times out of 10, they'd hit the corner and they would reset, and they'd go again, and they'd hit the corner and they'd reset. And then every now and again, they would make it round in exactly the right racing line, and then they'd go for that first jump that you want to hit. And if they'd hit it right, they'd carry on playing. But probably 19 times out of 20, they would then reset it. It was absolutely mental. I remember walking past a few times, and the same person was sat there trying to do this speed run on this course, this time trial. Just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that is. I love that though. The Play Expo was amazing. Yeah, that where we did Game Genies, wasn't it?
Exactly.
I can't wait for that.
One day, Comic-Cons will be back.
That it's just the intro alone. The intro alone for Game Genies is just by far one of my favourite things that we've done.
Yeah,
I loved it so much.
Fun times. Yeah,
it truly was.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious what will become of Comic-Cons, because there are some that are scheduled in already. I know is Wales Comic-Con scheduled for April? And I think we can pretty safely say that I can't see that happening. Because even if it does,
for April.
They've got a real one scheduled. I don't think they've announced that it's not happening yet.
Oh, right, okay.
But let's say April, we're not in lockdown, and people are allowed out. You're allowed to go to the cinemas and things like that. You're allowed to go to events. Theme parks are allowed to open. You could technically run a Comic-Con. But they get quite busy. So it's going to be completely cut down capacity, so you can actually maintain some distance. Everyone's going to be wearing masks, not just the cosplayers. So I guess a good chunk of people wearing masks is fine, because you just have your Spider-Man mask on or whatever. But then the rest of the people, including the guests, are going to be there in the masks. So how are you then going to do photo shoots? Are you going to be happy spending 60 quid to get a photo with whoever, 150 quid to get a photo with Rupert Grint, when you're both stood there wearing masks, and they're not going to be anywhere near you? You're not going to be able to do the, okay, can we do that scene from that film of yours where you've got a sword to me and all that, and I'm kneeling down, and people set up these photos, but it's just going to be standing side by side, 2 feet apart, maybe with a bit of perspex between you.
Yeah, it's going to be a weird one.
It's going to be very weird. Now, I know there's some that are scheduled for September, October, and they're maybe a bit more realistic. But even then, I can't see it being the same. And how are we going to do? Comic-Con Sings. You know, are we just going to have to put our microphone on the end of a very long stick?
Well, it's the game as well, isn't it? Because you're not going to be able to play well, I suppose you could play, but people won't want to go too close to you, will they? Doing the whole.
No. Well, we just have to use a wide-angle lens.
Yeah.
It's fine, and just shout. 2 microphones. In fact, I've got wireless microphones now, so there we go. That'll help. We'll just take a pack of antiseptic wipes and wipe them down every time. Be fine.
Yeah, why not?
Or we'll ask to see their vaccination license that proves that they were vaccinated. There we go.
Oh, there.
A tattoo that says, "Yes, I am clean."
Mental.
Anyway, sorry. I mean, we started off talking about negative things like serial killers and torture horror movies. So why not end with the negativity of talking about how life is never going to be the same again?
Well, it is Blue Monday.
Is it? Is that today? So that's the one where supposedly everyone's the saddest out of any day in the year.
It is indeed.
I've been alright. I've had a good day.
I've had a really good day, to be fair.
Cool.
So that did surprise me when it was that, to be honest.
Yeah. And Shaun's having pizza, and it's his birthday tomorrow.
Exactly. Oh, that's good. Although has he actually gone now? Oh no,
No, I'm still here.
He's still there. Still waiting for your pizza?
It's just got here, but it's cold. So that is the theme of my day today, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Oh dear. End with the sad Shaun story and start with the Shaun story. It's not the best.
Well, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure.
It really has been a pleasure.
Yes. And happy birthday for 1 hour and 55 minutes time, Shaun.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Shaun, it's your
birthday. Let me know when your package arrives.
Happy birthday, Shaun.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Don't get too excited.
I will.
Right. No matter what you do, sir, I hope you have the most fantabulous birthday you can do.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening, everyone, and thank you for joining us, Shaun and Reg.
Thank you for having us, Dan and Shaun.
See you guys later.
See you.
Toodles.
Bye.
How are you all, anyway?
I just told a story about my dad's. I bought my dad a TV, 50-inch, only an LED, but it was a good one. I wrapped it as well. It was like in this big box. I was really excited about it, and then we went into lockdown, and I couldn't get it up to him, so I decided to pay a courier. So we got this courier, £70 it cost in total. And he was late. It took like a couple of days. And then this showed up. Hang on.
You're going to get your money back, aren't you?
I'm going to try. Can you see that?
What? That was for the entire top of the box?
Yeah. Apparently he had to do it because he'd put it in water.
Yeah, you can. I mean, absolutely, you can tell, but that's an excuse that is the problem itself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had to. It went in water. Okay. Don't put it in water.
I mean, so currently I'm on a website called Legal Beagles, which always helps me with like claims and stuff.
Would you be? I mean, no, you're going to get more than your money back, aren't you?
I mean, I don't know yet. I don't know what I'm trying for yet because.
Would you be happy with the 70 quid back?
Yeah, I think so because the TV is fine.
Yeah, but it might not have been. Didn't you get a free TV at some point, Shaun?
Yeah. That was from Groupon. They said they weren't going to send it, and then they sent it. But I claimed the money back when they said they weren't going to send it. They did a pay-for refund, and they were like, "There you go," and then they sent it a couple of days later, and it was liquid damaged. So I sent it back to LG, and then they fixed it for free, which is nice.
Nice.
I think this might be karma, you know.
See, that's so like it's unfortunate because you always seem to have shit happen, but at the same time, you always come out of it much better than what you actually went out for.
Yeah. Question is, would you want to go through the stress and time and effort to get the results you want,
Well, now I know that it's fine. I don't know how much effort I actually want to put into this, but I mean, the plan was to get my money fully back.
I love how I've just seen on Facebook. They just don't post very often. So the only post you've commented on was one from December 2017.
Oh, can you see that?
Yeah, well, it's just come up on my page going, Shaun Bentley commented on a post from the 29th of December. They do not touch this company. They do not treat your items with care. Where is my delivery?
Yeah, I should have fucking looked before I booked. I'm such an idiot.
I don't know. This is literally some random Facebook page that is, like I say, hasn't been touched in 3 years.
Yeah.
I suppose if you'd have seen that's enough, isn't it? But you don't necessarily go looking for them on Facebook.
No. It's the last place you look for reviews, really, to be fair, isn't it? When you think, I'm going to do this, I'll just check the company out. I'll go on Facebook and check.
I mean, would something like DPD not have been easier and cheaper?
I don't think they would have been cheaper.
Stuff like that, like you got there, they've got to make an effort to go out the way to go up there. So they're going to charge a lot. Whereas DPD they've already got stuff going that direction, so it doesn't necessarily cost them extra apart from that last little trip from the depot to the house.
The problem was I wanted to send them wrapped. I should have just tried. I should have just called DPD and said, "Look, send these, please."
Yeah, I mean, if you wrap something in brown paper, they're not going to unwrap that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You could have double wrapped or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter anyway. But ultimately, I can't see them going, "Oh yeah, okay, here's your money back." But you go through your claim thing, you'll get that back. I think they'll force the issue because that's ridiculous. Yeah, but if anyone knows what they're doing with that, as you know the steps to go through, I'm sure.
I don't know what I'm after from them though. Like now, because I was gonna, I'd started building a court case for a claim of £700, including like the price of the TV. But I just went through it with my dad, and it's working fine. So it's just the box. So I think I'm just going to claim back for the fee.
As well as any of us, working with phones and all that sort of stuff. Sometimes water damage happens and it doesn't show up for like a couple of years.
Well, the packaging, the plastic packaging was perfect. Like that sort of held the TV. So I think they've fucked up and they've fixed it, but they've fixed it by fucking up the box. And it's one of those situations where it looks a lot worse than it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not defending them, but I think the least I'm going to try and get back for is my
I would just say to him, look, give me the money back that I paid for your pathetic courier service, and I'll call it quits. Otherwise, I'll be taking it further. And I have a history of successful.
Do you know who I am?
Have you ever listened to the Nerd OD podcast?
Yeah, here's a link to a podcast. Once I bought a cup.
I successfully sued Microsoft when it wasn't even their fault. Anyway.
Excellent.
To be fair, I've been recording for the last 7 minutes, so we can always use this as the intro. We'll see.